Hello, and welcome to the Kuribros, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime recap podcast. I'm your host, and joining me is my co-host, Andy. Sorry to blow out the levels there, Andy. How you doing?
Oh god, it's gonna clip like hell. Hi, how you doing, Phoenix? I am doing good. This is weird. We're doing it on a different night than we normally do it. I don't know why I keep broadcasting that, but here we are.
Well, if the people out there, when they get the live updates, they like to know when it happened in the real time. It's why when you listen back to like an old podcast or something, you might see them being like, oh yeah, and we just put this thing out, or we just did this. It's like, oh, here's like our live show, or here's like, we had like a meetup or something. And so it's kind of like fun to see those in the feed and be like, oh yeah, they're really out there doing stuff. They're not just, AI.
We are an AI. My hands look right, so I guess I'm not.
I actually saw a thing the other day, like literally yesterday, about like there's now a reverse Turing test where different like computer securities have to like check that a person interacting with them is human, as opposed to like prove you're human instead of prove you're not a robot is like now a thing.
Yeah, it's getting really out there and kind of out of hand with AI personally. Usually, this I guess I'll record my stance on AI, but
fuck them. They suck.
Well, okay, I want to say like this. AI, I think, has its uses, but it's not in the creative fields. That's where I really draw the line.
Yes.
It's like I see all these like Studio Ghibli of an anime, and I see like it's like Harry Potter, and Hagrid will have 6 fingers on one hand and no fingers on the other. And it drives me absolutely insane that people are okay with looking like that, and just weird faces and weird everything. It's just, I don't know how you can feel so okay with just like going, I just typed this in and look, I made a almost okay version of something I could have just drawn if I took maybe a month's worth of practice.
Or hey, pay an artist to do it.
That's also true. You could also do that. It goes back to that one video that went viral kind of in the art community. I don't know if it went viral everywhere else, but it handles PewDiePie doing the
that fucker.
I know he's got a lot of controversy, but I wanted to highlight that he's been drawing like every day for like 100 days or something, and you can see the literal progression, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, I know you citing him is not always the greatest, but at least you can physically see someone who literally showed all his like every day of sketchbooks and showed the progression, and he only has been doing it for like 100 days or something, and he's actually doing pretty good. And I guarantee you, anyone who feels like they can't do that, I guarantee you can do it. You just have to put the work in. So stop doing AI and put the work in. Thank you.
Going back to the terms of proving that we're people instead of proving that we're robots nowadays. So far, CAPTCHA tests still work to be a thing that AI can't get through.
I guess so. Well, that's good for them.
Yeah, just make the letters a little wobbly and they don't know.
That's what I would do.
But you know what you
but
should do?
We're not a recap what was on the last episode?
Absolutely.
So, last episode, we started the new season, and we covered Bandit Keith being a mind control puppet, stealing Yugi's puzzle. Kaiba got a shiny brand new card of somewhat importance, I guess. And then because of the fact that there's other cards that are probably of some importance in the future, Kaiba made a tournament at Ishizu's request, who's a new character. And then Yami and Taya went on a date to the museum in the arcade, and nothing weird happened.
Yep, there was completely normal characters there the entire time. There was no weird, unnecessary duel.
No, that didn't happen. They just moved on and they went to the museum, and then Yami learned some lore. I was going to say yore because I can't talk and I'm on a podcast.
Yeah, and they're going to have a Yule later.
And
did you get the new Yule Yisk?
Yes, I did. I wish I did. And then, so moving on to this episode, we are going to cover the beginnings of the Battle City tournament finally, which I'm very excited for, with Joey facing a rare hunter, which is who are going to be the goons of the antagonists, like the henchmen. And then Yugi's going to duel that same rare hunter. I wonder why. And then we go to Joey in his first official Battle City duel, where he duels a new character named Esperoba, who has a little bit of a head issue, I guess.
With the way this is actually played out, do you think we can give credit to Joey for being the unofficial first duel of Battle City?
With the Rare Hunter?
Yeah.
Um,
Because I don't, like, Joey doesn't lose his puzzle card, but he does lose his rarest card, which is the anti-rule.
it is, but I think they do an anti-rule in those kinds of duels anyway, which is, I assume, how they get most cards. So they also say they beat the fuck out of people in so many words.
Yeah, it's kind of weirder that they would bother to duel him instead of just robbing him.
I know, but you know.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves and spoiling the ending.
Oh no.
Spoiler alert for a show that came out 20 years ago.
And we still are recapping it.
Well, the people need to know.
Well, let's get them knowing, because I'm going to start off by covering episode 55, which covers loosely chapters 92 and 93. And I have some actual positive things to say about the anime with this one.
Oh.
So let's get into it. Not that I hate the anime or anything, like I have a complaint, but let's get into it. We open on a shot of the Domino City High School and hear Joey lament about how he didn't get an invite to the tournament, the Battle City tournament to be exact, despite being runner-up in Duelist Kingdom. Tristan reminds Joey of Kaiba's distaste for Joey, which only sets Joey off more. Joey asks if Yugi is joining, which Yugi nods and says the tournament is the only way he can achieve his destiny. Joey's kind of confused by that, but you know, he's got the spirit, so he's going along with it. Joey feels confident he can win with his powerful red eyes black dragon. Yugi reminds Joey to slow his roll and get prepared for the tournament and the changes of the game that it will bring, like the new dual disc system. Joey is eager to get started and urges the gang to go and get one of them fancy schmancy new dual discs. As they head to the shop to get their fancy schmancy new dual discs, Yugi and Taya have some friendly chit-chat time along the way. Yugi thanks Taya for taking Yami to the museum and what they were able to discover with Yami's past. Yugi goes on to talk about how it is super cool that the prize for each duel is the opponent's rarest card and that you will end up with a strong deck of the rarest cards, but on the other hand, he would hate to be on the other end of that and lose his Dark Magician, which is the heart and soul of his deck.
In the sub, the conversation is a little bit different there, where they are still talking about the anti thing and the tournament, but it does have a little bit of implication that Yugi does know that there is something that Yami is not telling him and it involves the tournament.
Yeah.
But that is why he's more glad to be in it, because it's not just because of the anti-rule, which was his initial concern. So he's glad the Pharaoh doesn't just want to get more rare cards. There's a better driving force behind his actions.
Yeah, this is actually where I was going to get into next, because this actually contradicts the manga in a way that, like, when they're talking in the manga, Yugi finds it odd that Yami would be so willing to enter a tournament with such stakes, as Yami believes that you shouldn't bet precious cards on a wager.
Is this a narrative on how the difference between Japanese and American audiences viewing things in consumerism, where in the American one they do make it about the rare cards, which if you want the best cards, you gotta buy more packs, gotta get the more money.
I don't know. That's actually a good point. I think what Yugi's trying to say is how awesome it is that you could be able to attain such rare cards in such a way, and you could have like a powerful deck full of really rare cards. Not necessarily saying like, oh, buy cards, but like you have that opportunity to get something of that kind of like really powerful deck.
The anti-rule was like a myth that I remember from school. Was that ever something that you had to do a game with?
No, but I only ever played it in like Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. I never played like school duels too much unless it was with you.
Yeah, and that was sort of like acknowledged, hey, this would be like a dick move.
Yeah, every time I come over to your house, you always just took my rarest card.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be making this podcast today if that was what happened.
I'd be plumb out of Yu-Gi-Oh cards if that's the case.
Yeah.
But either way, like I said, this actually does contradict what was going on in the manga. And Yugi goes on to quote Yami by saying, "A real rare card isn't about how scarce it is or how much money it costs. It's different for each person. It's the 40 cards they chose out of thousands and thousands of cards to build their deck. All those cards are precious to the duelists who chose them. All of them are one of a kind." So Yugi finds that Yami would be fine of entering a tournament with such stakes and believes there is more to it. So that's why he's going along with it. So I feel like the manga goes more with what watching a lot of the time. Like I feel like even like going as far as Pegasus J. Crawford is what it is in the sub, and that's what it also is in the manga.
That makes sense.
So that would track a little bit. So that's kind of cool that I'm getting a little bit more of the perspective also. It took me 2 seasons to notice it. They finally arrive at the shop and inquire to the clerk inside about the tournament. He says they are in luck as he has a few dual discs left in stock, but asks their names for the database. Yugi gives his name, which the clerk enters in the computer. Yugi's results come up with the highest rank a duelist could have. It's 5 stars in the anime, but it's actually 8 stars in the manga. I'm assuming that is a dig at, not a dig, but like a hint at Blue Eyes White Dragon being 8 stars.
That literally just connected in my brain that it's the stars from monsters. I thought, such a weird thing to have 8 be the best one.
Yeah, there it is. I think the Egyptian gods are 10 stars, but I think that's what it was. I don't know.
It doesn't really matter. They're the Egyptian gods. They have their own rules.
Yeah, that's very true. So either way, the clerk explains that the Kaiba Corp's database has done extensive research on each duelist, their dueling level, and their rarest card. Thanks to Yugi's awesome rank, he gets the duel disc for free.
We do have to say, they also show My Valentine. She is only 1 rank lower than Yugi.
They show that in... Did they show that in there? I thought they showed it in later.
No, for this one we got it at the same time where like the clerk turned around the screen and showed Yugi and like here's his rarest card, the Dark Magician, and Yugi is a level 8. And then they also showed like Mai to show like, oh yeah, it's got everybody. Like Mai's a level 7, and her rarest card is Harpy's Feather Duster.
Or it'd be like 5 and 4, I guess, in the anime. Unless yours is 8, which is weird. Is yours 8?
Yeah.
It was 8?
Yeah.
Why did they change it?
I guess because they would confuse Americans.
No.
I'm confused now, so it worked.
Okay, well, I guess, whatever.
Anyway, Mai's great. There, I said it for the episode. Mark your bingo cards.
Either way, then we have Joey enter his name into the database, and he gets a low score. I think it's like 2 stars in the anime, and then like 4 stars or 3 stars in the... It's something like that. Oh, no, I think it's 1 star. I don't remember. Either way.
It's an insulting amount of stars.
It's an insulting amount of stars for someone who is runner-up in Duelist Kingdom. Joey freaks out, and while the gang calms him down, the clerk notices Joey's Red Eyes Black Dragon card and says how his master would be interested in such a card. The clerk quickly types in the computer, and Joey's score changes to a score that is eligible, blaming it on the computer malfunctioning, which is weird. Joey is over the moon about this result, but it seems he's about to be in a lot of trouble as the clerk calls for rare hunters to get Joey's rarest card. Later, Joey separates from the gang as he says he needs to get to the hospital as Serenity's operation is tomorrow and he wanted to stay the night at the hospital with her. Tristan points out that it is not going to be an easy thing for Joey as he leaves, as Joey's mom will also be at the hospital. Joey and his mom had a falling out when she left with Serenity and separated her from Joey and hasn't spoken to her in 7 years. Tristan then has some bogus fanfare that is a thinly veiled attempt to try and hook up with Joey's sister. A true friend, that Tristan. Really scoring the brownie points by disrespecting your friend. We cut to Joey running down a dark alley at night so nothing can go wrong, right? Wrong! He is cut off by 3 cloaked figures and the leader challenges Joey to a duel. Joey accepts and puts on his new duel disc and the duel is on. We cut to Serenity and her mother in the hospital. Mama Wheeler, as I call her, asks what is bothering Serenity, to which she replies, she's nervous about the surgery, but when Joey gets to the hospital, she will feel a lot better. Ain't that sweet? Mama Wheeler is surprised to hear about Joey coming. I guess, she wasn't aware. We get back to the start of the duel with Joey's opening with a new monster called Panther Warrior and passes his turn. The rare hunter plays a face-down defense monster and passes his turn, which is, very exciting. Joey then plays the spell card Scapegoat, another new card, which summons 4 Scapegoat token monsters, which I think is a newer thing. I don't think they had tokens really in Duelist Kingdom. Panther Warrior's effect doesn't allow it to attack without a monster's tribute, so Joey sacrifices a Scapegoat token to have Panther Warrior take out the face-down monster. The Rare Hunter plays Graceful Charity spell card, which allows him to draw 3 cards and discard 2, and then finishes with another face-down monster. Apparently these few moves take a long time to make in real time because then we cut to Serenity alone in her room in the dark, worried because Joey is not there yet. Going back to the Joey duel, who realizes he is on a time crunch, Joey plays Alligator Sword, a card not played in the manga of the duel, and has Panther Warrior destroy the defense monster so Alligator Sword can make a direct attack on the Rare Hunter's life points. This is a new rule in the Kaiba Battle City tournament That was not in the rules of Duelist Kingdom. I'm sure many Yu-Gi-Oh players know how it feels to have their life points attacked directly. The Rare Hunter is unfazed by this assault on his life points as he plays another Graceful Charity spell card and finishes again with another defense monster. Joey mocks the Rare Hunter for making the same move over and over and over again and wants to get this duel over with quickly. Joey remembers you actually have to sacrifice monsters to normal summon stronger monsters now, so he sacrifices his 2 monsters on the field to summon his Red Eyes Black Dragon, who ends up destroying the defense monster, and Joey kind of actually thinks, I got this in the bag, I got my strongest monster out, nothing's ever going to happen, right? Believing his opponent is only hiding and playing in defense, but he had a bigger plan in mind and he just needed the pieces to get the win. The Rare Hunter makes some bad lines about Joey being hunted as he plays all 5 pieces of Exodia to automatically win the match. The only real difference about this and the manga is Joey did not sacrifice for Red Eyes Black Dragon. I only mentioned that for something in Joey's next duel, his first official Battle City match that we'll talk about later in the episode. Joey wonders how the Rare Card Hunter was able to get rare cards like Exodia. The Rare Hunter admits that yes, Exodia is very hard to find, but Rare Hunters find ways to make it happen. The reason in the dub is Rare Hunters take the pieces from duelists, while the manga reason is that they are master counterfeiters that can duplicate the pieces of Exodia, and he's got 3 sets of them.
The counterfeiting is also the explanation in the sub, but I don't think he says it to Yugi here, or to Joey here. He says it in the next duel.
He says it in this duel, in the manga at least. And then the Rare Hunters then, I guess, off-screen dub beat up Joey and take his Red Eyes Black Dragon. I'm assuming they actually show the beating. And
oh, yeah, they just start kicking the shit out of him. They're like, yeah, there's 3 of us. We should have just done this to start with. You're like, what, 15?
The next morning, we are at the hospital outside Serenity's hospital room. Mama Wheeler is begging to be let in, but Serenity refuses to budge as she wants to see Joey before she has the operation. We cut to Yugi in some star jammies, getting a phone call from Mama Wheeler informing him that Joey never showed up to the hospital. Joey then rounds up the rest of the gang to search for Joey in the city. Eventually, Tristan is able to find Joey and gives him a ride to the hospital. And just as the doctor decides to move on, because I guess you can just do that, I guess because he was going to move on from doing Serenity surgery because of her refusal. I guess she was just like, I'm going to go just deal with other shit. Joey shows up and tries to talk to Serenity, who is understandably upset. Joey tries to explain the story and profusely apologizes for not being able to be with her last night. And Serenity finally opens the door and the 2 exchange a big hug. Joey then greets his mother for the first time in years, and she returns the sentiments rather warmly. Some time passes, and Joey calls Yugi from the hospital to explain what happened and vows to get his card back as the episode ends. I just wanted to say, before I kind of get your thoughts on the whole episode, the whole Serenity in the hospital bit, that's all anime. That's not in the manga. I think we get to see her later. I think she kind of appears later, so I think they're just trying to set that up earlier. But I actually like this better than what they did in the manga, at least. The manga makes sense for kind of narratively because they don't need to pad for a whole episode. But basically what happens in the manga is Joey separates from Yugi at the card shop and he's just walking home in the night. And the Rare Hunters stop him. It's nothing to do with him going to see Serenity or anything. But I feel like this added a little bit more stakes to it. So I like the addition, and I think it's a very good thing to show Joey and Serenity's relationship, because I don't think we got to see that too much yet. This is really cool.
Final scene was a little different in our versions.
What'd you get?
When Tristan finds Joey, do they have a confrontation on a beach about it?
No.
Yeah, it's a whole thing where Joey's all anime scuffed up from the fight that he got in his ass kicked and is on the beach and is like, Tristan, they kicked my ass and they took my red eyes and God, it fucking sucks, dude.
No.
And Tristan's like, you gotta go for your sister. And Joey's like, shit, I forgot about my sister. I can't face her when I got the shit kicked out of me. You got to, because she's blind. Oh, fuck, you're right. Let's go. And there's a really funnily quick scene of Joey and Tristan on the motorcycle that Tristan said he borrowed from a friend. Which
what?
Tristan, where'd you get a motorcycle? I borrowed it from a friend, and we just don't address it further. But
they don't even address it.
He's taking Joey to the hospital, and Tay and Yugi on the street, and they just go flying across the screen so fast. It's a half second of frame of them.
That is the only thing that acknowledges that Tristan found him. So Tristan hey, I found Joey, and then he zips by with him.
Yep.
It's literally all. So they like it's a bunch of montages of everyone running around the city, and then Taya and Yugi meet up and are like, "Oh, we can't find him," and then Tristan's like, "Hey, I found him," and
And at that final phone call in the sub, Joey doesn't tell Yugi about losing Red Eyes and the Rare Hunter because he says he doesn't want Yugi to worry about it and he's going to get it back on his own.
I mean, that's much more in character with what he would actually do, but no, that's not what happens in the dub, unfortunately. Yeah, but I mean, this was a pretty good episode. I actually like this episode in the anime a little bit more than the manga, which I think is a first for me. So that's nice. It's got better Joey moments than in the manga, but for I guess page restraint reasons and everything else, they were only able to do so much with it.
Yeah, we couldn't have the double page splash of Joey getting the shit kicked out of him in an alley.
No, but we couldn't have the double page of Joey coming to the hospital all beat up. Couldn't do that apparently. But now we just saw our first kind of Battle City match, and now we're actually gonna probably get we're going to get into the Battle City proper now.
Yep. We're going to get the first official Battle City match in this chunk of episodes
Right here.
Dawn rises on Battle City and Gramps is sweeping up the front store. He remarks that Yugi must have been up all night prepping his deck for the tournament, and damned if that ain't relatable. I've spent many a long night being like, alright, got a big day of cards tomorrow, gonna get all my decks ready. Why is the sun rising? Gramps says that he's excited to watch Yugi duel for the first time in a while. Yami and Yugi are in their room together, and Yami says that he's going to try to find himself in Battle City, but he needs Yugi's help. Yugi agrees readily, and Yami's surprised by how easily Yugi does this, but he asks Yugi if he wants more details about it, and Yugi says he doesn't have to tell him if he's not ready. He's just fine knowing it's for a deeper reason than acquiring cards, which is like what was mentioned before.
Yami actually seems to be more upfront about his goals in the dub than in the manga, and in the sub, evidently. The dub has their conversation at the beginning of the episode more about Yami's true goals of finding himself and what that could mean. And so it seems like he's a little bit more upfront with trying to get that with Yugi, which kind of, this anime sometimes has like some weird character assassination moments with Yugi, like little Yugi, because I find it so interesting to see how Yugi's wanting to hold on so tightly to Yami that he doesn't want to let go, but Yami's like kind of hiding that he wants to, find his destiny and everything. So like Yugi's like half doing it and trusting him, but he's also like, I don't want you to go. You're the reason like I have what I have now.
Yeah, it's sort of like,
so it's hard to leave you.
Doesn't want to say he doesn't want him to do it because that would create a rift between them, but also doesn't want to fully go along with it because if he finds out everything, then maybe he'd become someone different and they wouldn't be with each other.
It's like this is narratively leading up to something.
Yeah, it's good narrative. The two put on a superfluous second belt, which I think just has the deck on it, and an overdramatic animation, and are ready to take on Battle City. Cut to Joey trying to figure out how to beat the Ghoul. Joey thinks that he didn't tell Yugi about the Ghoul because he wants to avenge his own loss. Then he calls Serenity to get some sibling support, but Tristan picks up the phone. Nightmare scenario. Tristan apparently has been telling Serenity that he's the one who trained Joey how to be a duelist.
I hate this Tristan trying to get with Serenity bit. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
It's really annoying. It's really creepy because, like, there's a code about this sort of thing. You don't do that.
It's scummy. It's like, this is what, like, I feel every time I'm being a little harsh and just, like, kind of leading into the bit a little too much. But he just keeps doing things that make me want to go, why is he here? What is he contributing to this fucking story?
I could bring this up in, like, a couple, however long it takes us to get to, like, the end of this. I don't know what Tristan's aspirations are for, like, after school. Like, once they're done being students. Because, like, we know Taya wants to go be a dancer, Joey wants to be a duelist, and Yugi wants to be a game designer. We have no idea what the fuck Tristan wants.
Yeah, because they never set his motivations up. They never
bothered to care enough about him to give him a motivation.
Exactly. And this is why I'm like, he's so, like, even Bakura has, like, a justification in the group. Not even just in the story, in the group. Because he at least can, like, connect with Yugi on the Millennium items, and he also is a gamer, so he's also can relate in that group. And it's one of the reasons why I hate that he's not, like, a main part of the anime group, because he is a main part of the manga group. It's just so kind of, off-putting that we give Tristan more time when he literally does nothing. So now we got to make him the comedic person, but he's not very funny, and he's also kind of just a scumbag.
No, because Joey's the comedic person.
Well, Joey's the real comedic person, but I think Tristan's supposed to be the side comedic person that kind of bounces off Joey, but he doesn't bounce off Joey very well. I mean, he kind of does, but it's literally like his only shining moments is like being in Joey's shadow.
I think when we get hired to do the rewrites, we'll just drop Tristan entirely and put Bakura in some of his scenes.
We're gonna guillotine Tristan.
He jumps in the water to get the piece of Exodia, and they don't pull him out.
They drown.
He winds up somewhere with Mako's dad.
Oh,
and Panda
that's
Keith,
how we bring him back.
The three of them on a raft.
Oh, god damn it. But yeah, I don't know. I can't stand this bit. I just want to go on a rant about that.
Yeah, totally fair. On the streets of Battle City, the duelists are out en masse, and some 9-to-5ers are watching on in confusion, not knowing what Duel Monsters is, much like many parents at the time when this was airing. Yugi is in the main square, where he heard the tournament was set to begin, and Mai meets up with him. Rex and Weevil also join the cool characters, and Mako shows up too.
Woo!
At a cafe, the ghoul who beat Joey is looking up duelist ratings on a laptop, and good god, this man needs some chapstick or something, because it keeps zooming in on his lips, and it's freaking me out, and they're dry, and I hate it. He's got a tiny mouth.
Dude, he's gross. He's actually gross. I would rather the mime that we're going to see later than this guy.
I don't know how they made a character look so dry and so sweaty at the same time.
It's actually impressive. Good on you, Takahashi, for design. I gotta say, now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the rare hunters or ghouls, as they call them in the Japanese releases, they all look kind of just like weirdly ugly, but also kind of creepy.
Like they were kept in like a damp basement, but under a heat lamp at the same time, and then they were let out into Battle City.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was it, Arcane?
Arcana.
Arcana. And then thinking about the mime that we're gonna see a little later, he's actually one of my favorite character designs of the Rare Hunters, at least the henchman ones. And then there's the two other guys, and they're like the most bland looking ones.
Yeah, they didn't even bother like take the robes off for them too.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that this guy's how gross he is.
Yeah. Anyway, this ad for lip balm is brought to you by the Kuribros. # not sponsored. The named characters then split up to go to their starting locations, which I guess are determined by the various puzzle cards that they got. Tells you like your starting area, and then I guess you sort of spread out from there.
I guess that makes sense.
Yugi goes to his location, which is a nondescript rooftop. Kaiba's voice is then heard across the city, and people are looking around for it as a blimp with 2 Jumbotron screens showing his face begins floating across the skyline.
Wait.
I'm gonna guess by the look on your face that I'm seeing that didn't happen in the dub.
No, he didn't. So he didn't do it in the manga. He didn't have a blimp. He had a giant TV. He had like a giant screen TV on a building.
Okay.
I got that confused. I thought I flipped it. I thought the blimp was in the manga and the TV was in the anime, but that's why I was like, wait, hang on, what? But no, that's what it was.
Yeah, gotcha. Kaiba then explains the rules again and goes on to further explain that only 8 participants will make it into the finals, and that the location for the finals is a secret that can only be found by putting together 6 of the special plate cards each duelist was given with their duel discs. He does go on to say that he himself doesn't know where the final is, and I already know that this is bullshit because he absolutely has to know where.
Yeah, he may not be the commissioner. They got Smokubas.
Right.
But
how vague do we want to be about like us knowing where this goes, or can I just like say why I think it's bullshit?
Well, it's Kaiba. That's the only real explanation you really need.
Right. But he's got like the whole over dramatic plan for like where the finals will be held. He knows where it is.
Oh yeah. I'm not even I know what you're alluding to, and I get what you're saying now.
Anyway, back in reality, Yugi looks down from the roof and sees Joey stalking across the square. Joey confronts the ghoul who took his red eyes, and as he's doing this, Yugi shows up, and while Joey tries to challenge the ghoul again, he is denied revenge, as the ghoul instead challenges Yugi. Yami takes over and accepts the challenge. Joey tries to warn Yami, but Yami stops him from telling him anything about Exodia. Probably because some stupid honor thing.
That is what he says in the manga. He's like, it's not right for me as a gamer to know an opponent's strategy and give myself an unfair advantage. That's just, there's no honor in that. The other one is in the dub. They use the excuse the rare hunter will be like, if you try and tell him, I'll rip Red Eyes. I got it right here. I'll rip it. So Joey has to he's holding Red Eyes hostage basically in the dub.
Taya is briefly seen for 5 seconds running around the streets looking for Yugi.
Yeah.
It's weird in the middle for no reason. We'll cut back to the end of the next episode, I guess, when that plot thread gets followed up on.
Yeah, it's kind of like she just keeps showing up a little bit for a couple times.
Yami deploys the dual disc system, and Mokuba and Kaiba are watching from a Kaiba Corp, I guess, observation room where there's a bunch of screens and these weirdly fluorescent colored people manning computers. Irrelevant. Yami goes first and sets 2 cards and plays Beta, the Magnet Warrior, and passes his turn. The Ghoul plays Graceful Charity, and Yami plays Light of Intervention, preventing monsters from being played face down. The Ghoul then plays Stone Statue of the Aztecs in defense and passes. Yami tributes Beta for Baphomet, which then allows him to summon Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts. And then he uses the set polymerization to fuse them into Chimera, the flying mythical beast, which they're still doing the thing where they summon a monster and then use polymerization, and it's pissing me off.
Yeah, it's a little weird. That actually, I'll use this opportunity to kind of do the manga differences because there's a few interesting ones. So Yami actually doesn't open with Beta the Magnet Warrior in the manga, but he opens with Gazelle the King of Mythical Beasts. And then I think another one is he doesn't use Light of Intervention in the manga. That's not a card in the manga. And then he sacrifices Beta for Baphomet, but that tracks with the rules that they're trying to do in the anime. He just summons Baphomet in the manga. And there's also no side bits of Kaiba watching the duel from his home base that you just mentioned.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's minding his business.
There are new Battle City rules for fusion monsters that say they cannot attack the turn that they are summoned. So Chimera can't do anything yet. Yami sets another card and passes. The Exodia Ghoul, henceforth to be known as EG, plays another Graceful Charity and now has 4 pieces of Exodia in his hand. Kaiba is informed that EG's cards have not been registered, and they are counterfeits. Mokuba then goes off to disqualify EG, but Kaiba says, let it play out. Back in the duel, EG informs the viewers, through internal dialogue, that he has a special contact lens that lets him see invisible ink on his cards, so he can tell what's on top of his deck, and he will draw the final piece of Exodia on his next turn. Jesus Christ, that is some bullshit.
Yeah, it was so weird. X-ray contacts to see invisible ink so he can see what Exodia card he's going to draw. Doesn't really seem that useful.
Yeah, just play every piece of Exodia. Play a 40-card deck that's just piece of Exodia at that point.
Yeah, seriously.
EG then plays Gear Golem the Moving Fortress in defense and passes. Joey calls out from the sidelines that Yami shouldn't be dueling against the Ghoul in an unfair match, but Yami doubles down and says that a true duelist never leaves the battlefield, no matter who the opponent is. Yami says he is paying back the debt he owes to Joey for jumping off the ship in Duelist Kingdom after Weevil threw his cards overboard. So this is him getting a card back for Joey like Joey tried to do for him.
He doesn't have that in the dub or even really in the manga. That's not his reasoning. He's just doing it because he's a pal.
Yeah.
Just a friend.
They didn't really need deeper motivation.
No, it's, just, hey, I'll get your card back for you, bud. No problem.
Thanks, Hugh. Yami then deduces that EG is trying to summon Exodia, and the episode ends after some quick taunting from EG.
Like it would in any Yu-Gi-Oh episode.
Yeah.
You didn't get to mention this at first, but this was episode 56, and it actually covered chapters 93 to 95. I just wanted to put that in there.
Oh, God, I forgot. Quick, start the episode over.
No, we're not doing that. Then the next one you're going to go into is 57, which covers chapters 95 and 96.
Yeah. The episode opens with the audience being brought up to speed through Joey, the EG, and Mokuba. Mokuba, back at the base, asks Kaiba if he's alright with Yugi possibly losing here, and Kaiba says he's fine with it, but through an internal monologue, he thinks that there's no way his only rival would lose, so he's not worried about it. Man is so normal about this kid.
I know, I think he wants to kiss Yugi.
You ever see there's like a comic where it's like, oh yeah, I keep a picture of my arch nemesis around at all times so I can never forget why I hate them so much. It's like a montage of person like carrying the picture around, it's like going to the movies with it and like in the shower and like going to bed with on the pillow next to him.
Oh my fucking god. That's Kaiba.
Yeah.
That's Kaiba with Yugi, 100%.
Yami sets 1 card for his turn and attacks with Chimera over the statue of the Aztecs. EG moves to draw the final piece of Exodia for turn, but Yami activates Time Seal, which skips the draw phase, so he cannot get the final piece this turn. This card is banned, and that is exactly what it does. Yami draws Light Force Sword for turn, and activates it immediately to remove a piece of Exodia from EG's hand for 3 turns. You can't activate trap cards the turn they're set, so this is cheating.
Yeah, I know. There's quite some bullshit in there. And I will say, these are also not in the manga either. Yami didn't use the Time Seal Trap card to stop the Rare Hunter from drawing in the manga. Yami doesn't summon Skull. And then there's a few other things we haven't gotten there yet.
Speaking of the Summon Skull, Yami tributes Chimera for Summon Skull, and uses it to destroy the Golem, with it leaving EG wide open. EG draws for turn and plays Swords of Revealing Light.
He doesn't do this in the manga.
Oh, this is very different, which I guess makes sense because they're more worried about page limits.
It's like padding. Anything between the Light Force Sword reveal and then the another trap that Yugi's going to play in a second are all filler and padding for the anime.
That makes sense, actually, because a whole lot of nothing is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yami draws for turn and passes. Oh yeah, forgot. EG draws another Head of Exodia, so he's got 2 and passes. Yami then sets a card, summons Alpha, the Magnet Warrior. There's some back and forth about the weaknesses of the Exodia deck and some taunting between the two of them, but it's not very interesting, so who cares? EG draws another leg of Exodia for turn and plays the Head of Exodia on the field. Yami then reveals that this is what he was hoping for as he flips up Chain Destruction, which targets the Head of Exodia and then destroys the copy of it in his hand and the copy of it still in his deck. So now he cannot get all the piece of Exodia into his hand to win through the Exodia alternate win condition. Yami then plays Dust Tornado, which destroys Swords of Revealing Light early, and declares it is now his turn. So he just decided EG was done playing, I guess. He plays Monster Reborn to revive Chimera. And here's where, it's weird, because so far no one's taken any actual damage. And Yami attacks in a weird order. So Exodia has 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense. And Yugi has 3 monsters on board, varying stats of 1,400 attack, 2,500, and 2,100. He uses Chimera to attack the Exodia head, so on board he only has 3,900 left. But then he says because his monsters are attacking together, the attack becomes 4,100. He could have just used Alpha to destroy Exodia, and then attacked with his other monsters, which totals 4,600 points, and he would have won without us making up some bullshit.
So, anything between Life Force Sword and the Chain Destruction reveal is filler and padding for the anime. I did kind of say that. Once Yami uses Chain Destruction, the Rare Hunter's deck is basically dead. So basically what he does is he does Light Force Sword and then he follows it up with Chain Destruction to destroy that same card he Light Force Sworded or whatever. So he can't play any of the one of the pieces of Exodia. I can't remember which one. I don't think it's the head though.
The hand was one that got hit by the sword. Like the right
that's
hand.
That's the one I think. I think that's the one that he uses Chain Destruction on Chain Destruction.
It might have been a bit too graphic for them to air us showing a severed head getting, impaled by a sword and then blown up through chains.
I don't know. In the manga, it probably would have tracked, actually.
Oh, the manga Hondo P would have.
That's what I mean. So, everything you said in the sub is in the dub, but in the manga, all that stuff's padded. And so, when Yugi uses Chain Destruction, or Yami, the Rare Hunter's deck is dead, and he basically surrenders. There's no direct attacking with Yami's monsters and everything. He just kind of is like, no, my deck is done, and falls over or something.
Weird.
Yeah, it's a little less grandiose of a loss.
Yeah, it's not as impressive for, animation and all that. If he just, I give up.
Yeah, but I think he could have made it work.
I have been defeated.
He's like, oh no. And then
man, I can't believe they made Kermit a Rare Hunter.
I mean, he totally would.
I mean, we already have the Kermit meme where the ones in the robe. That's kind of like a Rare Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's all connected. Onlookers are impressed by the match, and the Kaiba Bros then take off to the city themselves, Kaiba to participate, and Mokuba to officiate. Eiji is unconscious on the ground, and Yami mugs him for red eyes and takes his puzzle card.
Should just kick him in the face, too.
He then tears up the counterfeit Exodia cards, which I didn't mention before, but he said some stuff about having multiple copies of Exodia and how Yami was like, this was one of the back and forth taunting bits. He's like, oh, it'd be really hard to get all the pieces. And he's like, yeah, you're right. That's because they're fake. I cheated.
I'm a bad guy, Yug.
I'm a bad Rare Hunter. I couldn't even get the cards, so I just printed some at home.
I just drew them with the colored pencil.
Not even at home, the public library.
Just a guy with a cloak.
The most
at the public library
powerful card in my deck is my library card.
And that's the only powerful card you need because knowledge is power, kids.
That's actually the credit card.
Well, yeah, in this day and age.
Yeah. Anyway, check your FICO scores, kids. EG then gets up after the counterfeit's been torn apart and starts having a breakdown, raving about someone named Merrick coming. The symbol of the Millennium Eye then appears on his forehead, and a different voice begins speaking through him. The voice explains that EG was the weakest of the rare hunters, and that memories have been implanted in him that allow him to be controlled. EG then bounces around like a little marionette to show how controlled he is. It's funny.
Yeah, that happens in the manga too.
The voice says that he has been chosen by the Millennium Rod, which is how he's able to control EG, and names himself as Merrick, so I can finally stop being vague about it with pronouns.
This is actually where Merrick introduces himself for the first time into Yami in the manga, as the early time in the anime was written for the anime. Because, like I said, like we talked about in the last episode, the whole Bandit Key thing was anime only.
Yeah. Yami asks Merrick what he wants, and Merrick says he wants the God Cards. Whoever collects the God Cards will gain the title of Pharaoh and the power to conquer the world. I think this getting the title of Pharaoh is a new thing that they're just bringing up now.
Yeah, they're really I think this is where they really start leaning into like puzzle mythology and what Yami really is. I think they didn't really know what to do with Yami as far as his, like what his story is when they first started. I mean, Yami was always like originally just a a more confident version of Yugi. That was kind of the idea. So like it's just like this other person in you that like is your actual true strength. So this is now where we can make the story kind of go full throttle.
Merrick says the Ghouls already have 2 of the God Cards, and someone in the city, Kaiba, has the 3rd. Merrick warns that a ghoul in the city has one of the God Cards on him, so Yami better watch out. Yami ain't scared of no ghouls and vows to defeat Merrick. EG then crumples to the pavement. I'm sure he's fine. He's not fine. Yami tries to return Red Eyes to Joey, but Joey says he isn't ready for it, but he will be once he becomes a true duelist. Joey explains that Yami is the closest to his idea of a true duelist, and that he was being arrogant before due to his successes in Duelist Kingdom, and that Red Eyes won't accept him as he is now. Joey then vows to become a true duelist in Battle City, and that he and Yami promise to duel again when that happens, and that Yami will hold on to Red Eyes until then. The episode ends with Joe parting ways, and Taya running to try to catch up to Yuki.
As always. I love this about Joey. This is one of the better things I enjoy about Joey is he takes a hard lesson but he learns it every time, and he doesn't take the easy way out with anything. And I really can appreciate his willingness to do that. He believes he needs to go through the trials of these Battle City matches to really prove that he is a true duelist with or without Red Eyes, which is kind of cool. And I really like Joey.
Yeah, Joey's really good. He's like the most active character growth throughout this whole thing.
Well, it's in him and
he has
Yugi in
the
manga.
most, I would say, but Yugi's definitely up there too. Neither of them are static characters.
It's no, for sure. I think Joey grows more in this arc, and then I think Yugi grows more in the next, the next arc in the manga, but a few arcs from Battle City.
Yeah.
Since the anime is a little different. But yeah, this was a fun little few episodes. Was really kind of surprised about how much they added, but thinking about it logistically, I understand. And some of the plays they do make more sense because I think Takahashi was still trying to figure out everything rules wise. I keep saying that, but it just seems like that's the case, or either he forgot. So at least the anime kind of cleans up some of that stuff. But it does kind of go to the detriment in the next episode because now there's a big plot hole that they overlook.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
And that next episode would be episode 58 and covering chapters 96 and 98. Take it away, Andy.
We open on our Brooklyn baby boy walking through Battle City when he suddenly spots a duel happening. What are the odds, right? Joey makes his way to the front of the crowd to see a former opponent of Joey's in Rex Raptor taking on a new face to the series in Esperoba. Esperoba mocks Rex as he claims he knew what card Rex was going to play because of his psychic ESP abilities and was able to counter thanks to said abilities. Rex is confused about how he got into a mess like this, as Esperoba lays the final blow on Rex Raptor's life points, as Rex lays on his hands and knees in defeat, Esperoba takes his Serpent Knight Dragon, which he elects to maybe use as a coaster rather than put it in his deck, and also Rex's Locator card. So Rex is out of the tournament, and we've only seen him do one move. So, he is 0 for 3 actually 0 for 4. Because Weevil, then Mai technically, even though we didn't really see the duel, Joey, and now Esperoba. Rex rules.
Yeah. Man got second place in Nationals, and that was the highlight of his life.
Yeah, literally, especially after what we get into in the other series. The devilish Esper looks for his next victim as he notices Joey, who is looking as clueless as ever, and challenges him to a match. Rex Raptor warns Joey not to do it and informs him about Esperoba's special abilities. Joey doesn't listen and accepts the match as he needs to take the first steps into becoming a true duelist, which is 1, never passing up on an opponent, and 2, fighting those who seem stronger than you. Esperoba remembers Joey's name and credentials and looks forward to knocking him down a few pegs. We then cut to the hospital where we see Serenity with bandages around her eyes as she's recovering from her surgery, when suddenly Tristan comes in to keep up this game of trying to bang Joey's sister. It's a little on the nose, but that's pretty much what it is. He brings a laptop and tells Serenity that Kaiba Corp is streaming the Battle City duels live on the internet so they can watch Joey duel. Tristan, a clueless ableist he is, forgets that Serenity can't see, so he's going to have to do play-by-play commentation. Serenity is very excited to hear about Joey's accomplishments, but apparently our young moron named Tristan doesn't even know how to turn on a fucking laptop. We make a quick cut to Yami, who overhears some passerbyers talking about the duel Joey's about to compete in. Then we come back to Joey, who puts up his Time Wizard as his card ante, while Esperoba puts up his Jinzo, which we'll see later. The duel begins as we cut back to the hospital where Serenity's nurse is showing Tristan how to work on a computer and get the live stream of Joey's duel up. Joey's about to make his first move when Esperoba starts doing his ESP dramatics, which, kind of weirds Joey out. Joey starts by playing Guiltia the Knight in attack mode, but it doesn't come onto the field. The crowd mumbles that Joey has made a really big mistake, much to Joey's apparent confusion. Joey thinks Esperoba has something to do with it, but it's a much simpler explanation than whatever ESP boy is on about. Joey forgot that you were supposed to tribute weaker monsters to summon stronger monsters. This tracks with the manga, but not with the anime, as when Joey fought the Rare Hunter, or EG, he literally establishes his knowledge of this rule by using it to summon his Red Eyes Black Dragon. He does not do the same move in the manga, as he did not play by the Battle City rules, it seems, because he just summons it outright. But that would make sense for the story at this point, because he would be ignorant to that knowledge, where here it just kind of gets me mad at the lack of consistency for our boy Joey. And he kind of looks like an idiot, and I don't like that. Joey has now wasted his turn on his first move. Esperoba goes back to his psychic theatrics and predicts the Swordsman of Landstar is at the top of Joey's hand, which is correct, much to Joey's confusion. Esperoba takes his turn and summons Cyber Raider and attacks Joey's life points directly, putting him down to 2,600.
Esperoba doesn't predict what's at the top exactly. In the sub, he says that Joey's best play is to play the Swordsman of Landstar that he has.
Nah, I think that's what he does more in the manga, but in the anime, he's just kind of like, oh, you have Swordsman of Landstar. Isn't that right? He's like, hey, what are you doing? This is weirder than Yuke, and Yuke's pretty weird.
Get out of my mind, you little weirdo.
Yeah, it's stupid. I gotta deal with this Pegasus.
It's bad enough the government's trying to steal my information.
Amen to that. Tristan is watching the duel silently as he is unsure how to break into Serenity, so he proceeds to lie and make things seem like Joey is winning with ease. Way to make yourself honest when you're trying to court a partner, idiot. We see Yami from a city balcony roof kind of thing, looking down, watching over Joey's duel, something that does not happen in the manga. Yami is not around during Joey's duel in the manga. Yami doesn't believe Esperoba is being honest with his abilities when, by coincidence, he looks over to see 4 Esperoba mini-clones who are talking about what cards are in Joey's hand. Seems our ESP guy is not who he says he is. We get back to the duel where our boy Joey is already in a tough spot. Joey draws his card and the Robo brothers let Esperoba know that he drew what they think is another Graceful Dice spell card, and he calls Joey out on it, which shocks Joey. In the manga, he even mentions that he was communicating to the spirit of Pegasus J. Crawford, who was tragically murdered a few months ago in manga time. Esperoba thinks he has this duel in the bag, but that declaration of the second Graceful Dice card was his biggest mistake, as Joey had only one of those cards in his hand. Joey is starting to become aware of the facade and uses it to his advantage. Joey summons the Swordsman of Landstar in attack mode and places the 2 dice cards face down. Esperoba tries to predict Joey's strategy, and Joey plays along knowing he has a slightly different plan up his sleeve to reveal the truth. Esperoba reveals a snafu in Joey's quote-unquote plan, as he says you can only play 1 Graceful Dice card per turn. In the manga, Esperoba just decides to attack Joey knowing he might have 2 Graceful Dice cards to use. Esperoba attributes his monster to summon the Fiend Mega Cyber. Joey reveals his Graceful Dice card, and he says he needs a 5 or a 6 to get a high enough attack strength, but rolls a 3. Esperoba is ecstatic at this result and goes in for the attack at Swordsman of Landstar, who only went up to 1500 attack to go against a monster with 220 attack points. Joey reminds Esperoba about his other face-down card, to which Esperoba retorts that he already told him he can't play another Graceful Dice card, but Joey reveals that the card he actually had face-down was Skull Dice, a trap card which reduces an opponent's monster's attack strength. Skull Dice rolls a 5, so Mega Fiend Cyber is reduced to 440 attack points.
Now, of course, I'm always here with the that's not how this works. I'm going to tell you there's a couple that's not how this works here. It is shown in the sub, at least, that Graceful and Skull Dice are both quick play spells, but in actuality, Skull Dice is a trap card, Graceful Dice is a quick play spell. They do not multiply or have anything limiting who they can target based on base stats. Rather, they either increase or decrease the stats of whatever they affect by 100 times the amount rolled. There is no multiplication. That would be annoying.
Wouldn't it be? Yeah, I remember those cards very well. I believe they came in one of the Game Boy packs.
Yep.
I had them. They got kind of fucked up.
A little bit. They weren't great because they were like this weird like full foiling they had on them.
So they would kind of peel.
Yeah.
It sucked. Either way, the monster gets easily destroyed. Joey reveals the conclusion he has come to about Esperoba's ESP abilities and reveals to everyone that he is cheating and someone is looking at his hand, which makes the crowd none too pleased. This is where we see Esperoba's brothers in the manga. Like, this is where they get, like, introduced. That's how they get revealed. Back in the anime, though, Bokuba, who is the commissioner of Battle City, actually catches the younger Roba brothers and is planning to disqualify Esperoba for cheating, as the brothers beg for him not to do so. They reveal he is dueling for them, and apparently they were carnival folk who left the life, and now Esperoba protects his brothers from bullies. So the brother sob story tugs the brother trigger for Mokuba, so he starts wavering. They convince Mokuba to allow Esperoba one more chance, but if he cheats, he's done for. We quickly cut to Teo worrying about Yugi and not really much else, as we also now go back to Esperoba, who hasn't wavered even though his con was outsmarted. They continue the duel, and Esperoba plays 1 face-down card and ends his turn. Joey realizes Roba didn't play a monster, so he wants to get a direct attack in. He plays Alligator Sword, which he drew into. He has 2 monsters that could finish off of Esperoba's life points. Alligator Sword attack connects, which reduces Esperoba's life points to 1440. Then Swordsman of Landstar goes in for the attack, but Esperoba reveals the Mind Control trap card, and Swordsman of Landstar becomes Esperoba's monster for 2 turns. Joey's confused why Esperoba didn't do this with the first attack, but that would have been a draw, and Esperoba needs this monster alive. Joey realizes he's going to sacrifice that monster. Joey then goes, alright, well, I got a trap card, so I'll take that out. And he passes. Esperoba sacrifices the monster he took from Joey to summon the almighty Jinzo. Joey's content as he has a trap waiting for Jinzo, but Jinzo's special effect stops all trap cards, which puts Joey in a bind as the episode ends. Note that in the manga, Esperoba actually also takes Alligator Sword on his turn to sacrifice both monsters. I guess Takahashi thought Jinzo would need 2 sacrifices at first. I think it does establish it's 7-star, like a 7-level monster in the manga, but obviously it's a level 6 monster in the real world. So that's kind of why that happened. But either way, it all makes sense. Now we are going to episode 59, which covers 98, and we actually get all the way up to chapter 100 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist. We probably got to the 100th chapter in the whole story a little while ago, but here we are in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist with chapter 100. So, what is that, like a century mark, whatever?
Centennial,
that's the word. We return to the duel with Joey in a tricky situation as he is facing a powerful monster in Jinzo and he can't play any trap cards in hopes to stop its onslaught. Esperoba plays the magic card Amplifier, which boosts Jinzo's attack by 500 initially and 300 more every turn.
Not what that does.
Well, it's what it does in the anime.
Amplifier actually is a very bad card. It does make it so you are not affected by Jinzo's no more trap card effects, but if Amplifier is destroyed, Jinzo is also destroyed, and there's no stat boosting.
Yeah, it's a little. Its only real purpose is to let you play trap cards, and
Cover up that bald head.
and that too. But this one seems a little better in the anime. He goes in for the attack on Alligator's sword and destroys it, sending Joey's life points down to 1,200. This is not what happens in the manga, however, since Esperoba used both of Joey's monsters to summon Jinzo, the Jinzo goes in for the direct attack, sending Joey's life points down to 200. But that's in the manga. Back to the anime. We cut to Esperoba's brothers cheering him on for turning the tides of the duel, back to him. Even Yugi's acknowledging that Esperoba is a strong duelist, and Joey will have to think of a really good way to defeat him.
I'd also forgotten to mention this before. Mind Control also doesn't do that. It is not a trap card that lets you steal an opponent's monster and then tribute it. In fact, it's a spell card that lets you take an opponent's monster, but you cannot attack with it or tribute it.
Wow, that's crazy, actually.
You just move it out of the way.
Could just use brain control then at that point, because you're already not using the 800 life point bullshit.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, I had to clarify. I'm possessed by demons.
I get that. It's Joey's turn, and he draws Baby Dragon, which he then summons.
Baby Dragon.
Baby Dragon. Joey then tries the good old Time Wizard combo, which works to summon Thousand Dragon, but unfortunately, it has no effect on Jinzo like it normally would. They use a Duelist Kingdom level excuse to say Jinzo has a special armor to protect him from Time Wizard's magic. Something about 10,000 years the armor can last, whatever. This is not in the manga at all, as he never uses Time Wizard in this duel. He actually plays Baby Dragon, but he also plays Scapegoat, which we'll see later on. Also, after Joey plays Baby Dragon again in the manga, that's when Esperoba plays Amplifier. Sorry, there are many more differences than I was anticipating for this match. Seems like they needed to pad the timeout, so they made more moves in the show than in the manga. So, going back to the anime. Since the Time Wizard trick didn't work like Joey planned, Jinzo goes in and destroys Thousand Dragon, which sends Joey's life points down to 700. We then cut to Joey's friend Tristan still hanging out with Serenity, worrying about Joey losing but trying to hide it from Serenity. The nurse suddenly comes in and to check on Serenity, and Tristan decides to go outside to give Serenity the space she needs for the nurse. Serenity then asks the nurse what the real results of the duel are, as she does not believe Tristan's lies. Good on you, Serenity. We cut to Taya, who gets a surprise hello from Grandpa, to which she reacts by hitting him before getting a call from Tristan to send Joey a message. Whatever. Now we get back to the duel finally. Things are looking bleak, but as long as Joey believes in his deck, he will find a way. Now Joey plays Scapegoat to buy some time. Esperoba is goading Joey into giving up, saying how hopeless it is, he has no chance of winning. Rex Raptor, like the loser he is, agrees with Esperoba, saying even I had no way to beat Jinzo, like he didn't get knocked out of Duelist Kingdom by someone who's only had one official tournament match before dueling him. If I were a visual podcast, I made a kind of like a kind of a grimace or like a kind of face, listener. We get back to Tristan trying to keep lying about Joey's duel to Serenity's face, but Serenity reveals she knows the truth and that she always wants to know the truth no matter how it hurts. She wants to give her support, and she asks Tristan to help her by cheering Joey on. We get back to the duel, and it's Esperoba's turn. Esperoba summons Reflect Bounder, which can reflect any monster's attack back to the user. Is that what it does?
So Reflect Bounder is a weird card. Not the weirdest card we're going to see in this one, because there's still one more left. But it's a funky one. So before damage calculation, if it's being attacked by an opponent's monster, and it was in attack position at the start, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attacking monster's attack. And if you do, after damage calculation, destroy this card.
Oh.
So you could attack Reflect Bounder with a 100-point monster, and it would blow up.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Either way, Jinzo's attack grows to 3,200, and things are looking real grim for Joey. 2 of Joey's Scapegoat tokens are toast from Esperoba's monsters. By next turn, Esperoba can summon another monster and finally finish off Joey. We really need the hard cards to get out of this one, huh, Joey? Joey starts to lose hope when Taya comes through the crowd with a message from Serenity that they are a team forever, so don't give up. Joey's duelist spirit is revived and the heart of the card fever is burning up. Joey draws the exact card he needs, which is Roulette Spider, which attaches onto Jinzo. Joey gives up half of his life points to have the card attached to the strongest monster in the field and have it go to the center of a roulette table that appears. The target starts blindly spinning, and whoever it lands on gets the attack. So Joey, Esperoba, the two scapegoats, and Reflect Bounder are all fair game. Jinzo starts to spin, and Esperoba is hesitant to stop the roulette, but he finally makes the call. The roulette starts to slow down, and it finally lands on Reflect Bounder, which attacks and reflects onto Jinzo and destroys both monsters, depleting the remainder of Esperoba's life points. The main difference here is that since Joey never used Time Wizard in the manga, Baby Dragon was still on the field when Jinzo and Reflect Bounder got destroyed. It took a hit to Esperoba's life points, but didn't fully deplete them. Baby Dragon then comes in for the final blow. Again, not really as grandiose as in the anime, but it works. The crowd starts heckling Esperoba, but he's saying he can't lose. People count on him to win. He doesn't want his brothers to be picked on. He explains everything to Joey about his brothers and the bullying, to which Joey tries to console Esperoba, who rejects him. As Joey kind of walks away, he's like, forget you then if you don't want help. The brothers reveal themselves. They reassure Esperoba they think he's a winner, and it doesn't matter if he loses. They look up to him no matter what. Just, sweet. Yami approves of Joey's victory as he leaves. Joey receives Jinzo and the locator card as his spoils of his victory. Esperoba apologizes for trying to cheat and hopes he can face Joey again one day in a fair and square match. Joey reminds Esperoba that their siblings drive them to be great duelists and not to forget about that. They part ways, and we end the episodes with our dueling protagonists off to find their next match.
So the last card that I need to talk about is Roulette Spider, which does not pick 6 different targets on the board, spin around a bunch, and then someone says stop and it attacks that one. What it actually does is it's a quick play spell that when you activate it, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you roll a 6-sided die and apply one of the following results, depending on what you roll. Roll a 1, have your own life points. Roll a 2, make the attack a direct attack. Roll a 3, choose one monster you control and change the attack target to that, and then do damage calc. Roll a 4, choose a monster your opponent controls, change the target to that, and perform damage calc. Roll a 5, negate the attack, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. If you roll a 6, destroy that opponent's monster. So, I don't think Roulette Spider was real at the time when this was coming out, so I'm not going to sweat it, but the 5 option there would get the accomplished result of bouncing the damage back at his face.
Yeah, it is kind of just a chance thing. I mean, Joey's whole deck is luck.
Yeah, there are comments from Rex in the sub on the sidelines that, he can't believe someone who uses this many, luck and chance-based cards beat him.
Just like you when we were just doing that match.
It was insane. The odds, the chances.
Joey's spirit's within me. I'm a Brooklyn boy.
Bada bing.
But that's the end of this duel and the final episode of this episode of the podcast. I like this duel. I think Joey has a lot of growth in it. I like Esperoba. Jinzo's actually one of my favorite old cards. I think it's a cool looking card, and I think the effect is pretty useful. There's nothing really too much to say about it. I also have to point out that Joey's character design is different in the manga than it is the anime, and I like the anime character design more. I like the t-shirt combo because he just wears his school uniform, the blue jacket and everything in the manga. It's okay.
I know you've mentioned before when we were at the end of Duelist Kingdom about how the duel between Yugi and Joey didn't happen in that. And I think in that version, Joey having the motivation to become a true duelist and then face off against Yugi and Yami has more weight to it than it does in the animes where they did have their duel. I think it does build up more impact behind them finally having the match we get to see them have if they didn't already have one.
I'd love to actually see that match. I think they imply it's off screen.
Yeah, they
I'm
do
not
have
entirely sure.
A cutaway.
Well, I know they show it in the anime at the end of the Battle City, spoiler alerts, but I don't think they show that off in the manga. But we will see when we get there. So
no, they'll have a match, all right.
Oh, they will have a match. But yeah, I don't know. This was a pretty good episode. I liked it, but I guess I like the manga version a little better just because it's a little more clear cut and makes sense, but this also makes enough sense where I can enjoy it too. It's starting to kind of look like I'm going to enjoy both what the anime does and the manga do for different reasons. So I guess that's good because it's better than what it was in the Duelist Kingdom arc where I'm like, this is bullshit. Why are they doing this? But yeah, you have any final thoughts on that?
I'd say I agree with you. I think the duels were fun. I like the Esperoba and Joey one more than the one with the Exodia Ghoul, but that was kind of like we saw him 2 back-to-back matches where his whole strategy was don't play, just draw cards, which isn't entertaining.
Yeah, it's the match in the manga lasts maybe like what would be a chapter's worth of pages. It is literally like Yugi plays Gazelle, Yugi plays Baphomet, Yugi summons Chimera, Yugi plays the Life Force Sword and the Chain Destruction Trap card. And it's actually, and Life Force Sword is a spell card in the manga, funny enough. And does the combo and then destroys his deck and he's like, "Oh, I'm done, so." Like he doesn't do he does the defenses at first, but it's really quick. So yeah, the Esperoba duel's a lot better for sure.
Yeah, and we get to see a neat, unique character design, and he also was featured in some other shots before and being mentioned as being a capable duelist, but
yep,
he's dead now.
Well,
him and his legion of clones.
Yeah, but it's a cool character design, so I don't mind.
Yeah,
I guess that's really all we got to say about that. These were pretty good bit of episodes. I'm actually excited to get into these next few episodes for the next podcast, which is
next time we'll be covering the duels between Yami, Yugi, and Arcana in the Dueling Dark Magicians.
Woo.
And also we get to watch Joey start tearing through Yugi's old conquests of Weevil.
Oh yeah, that's actually something he does do, doesn't he? He does just literally face the people he faces in Duelist Kingdom, or Yugi faces in Duelist Kingdom.
Yeah, I always thought that was a little weird because like Joey made it to the finals, so we should already know he's a better duelist than everyone that Yugi beat. So why is he beating the people that Yugi beat now? And I don't know, that was weird.
Well, I guess they can always establish like they did change their decks and they did make them stronger, and so it is more of a level playing field, I guess, because I guess they took their learnings from Duelist Kingdom, except for Rex apparently, and they all have different strategies now. Weevils is still cheating, which we'll go into, but
it's advanced cheating.
It's a little bit more advanced cheating than I'd like to admit. Either way, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, we'll get to cheating next time.
I think we've gone on long enough. Do you want to give your socials?
Sure, people can find me on the internet at twitch.tv/PhoenixFarce and youtube.com/PhoenixFarce. I play a bunch of video games, mostly casual card games. Sometimes I break into more long-form stuff. If you want to see the backlog I have, including the over 100 episodes of me narrating what goes on in Yu-Gi-Oh! Matches on Master Duel, go to the YouTube page. I have a whole playlist for you there, so you can throw it on in the background when you go to work so your pets can listen to it or something. I don't know. Do whatever you want. I'm not your dad or your boss. Andy, where you at, boy?
My public Instagram is apapasergi, PAPPASERGI. I will be posting things like my music projects that I have coming up this year and drawings, art. I'm really getting into digital drawing again, and I hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we'll have more of a consistent release schedule with that. So we'll see, but we will also not see. And you can find all the Kuribros socials in the descriptions below. We have a link tree on our stuff. Kuribros on Instagram, the Kuribros on Twitter /X, whatever. And that's really it. So signing off, my name's Andy.
I'm Phoenix.
Giddy up and goodbye.
Oh!